All right, folks, welcome to wall layout. You should get to this page where I believe it's page 24 in your workbook, the first one of these. And we're going to learn how to lay out a wall. This is an important skill in this class because we're going to use it not only now, but when we actually start building stuff. So a few things. This is a 9-foot wide and 8-foot high wall. You've already been given the top plate, the bottom plate, and the two outmost studs. We are going to draw this at 3/4 scale. 3/4 equals 1 foot scale. The wall is built from 2x4 lumber. Now, we're going to get into this more later, but a 2x4 is not actually 2x4. It is actually 1.5 inches thick by 3.5 inches wide. We'll talk about why they call it a 2x4 later. We are going to start by making a butt wall. A butt wall is wedged inside of a different wall so it doesn't go the full length. If you'll remember when we did this and we labeled some things, if you'll take a look, this end one isn't spaced correctly. That's because if you keep this pattern going, it ends where a wall will be, but is not a part of the building of this wall. But it will be attached and wedged inside of it, which means that when you put a piece of plywood or a piece of drywall or something onto this, we need to consider where it will be and not where it is. So that's what we mean by a butt wall. All right, so a few other things. It will have a stud pattern of 16 inches on center, so every stud will be at 16, 32, 48, so on and so forth. There will be a window that we will deal with later, so I'm not going to deal with the window stuff right now. So we'll deal with these bullets a different time. So first of all, let's talk about where the studs are going to be. There's a little open area right here, and let's talk about what this means. So 16 inches, I don't really have a good grasp on for the scale, so let's put that into architectural. That would be 12 inches is a foot, plus an additional 4 inches would be 16 inches. And we're going to keep this pattern going. The next one will be at 2 feet. Whoops, 2 feet plus 8 inches. Okay, that's 32. And the next one's a nice even number at 48 inches. Then we're going to have at 5 foot 4 inches. Add another 16. We got 6 feet 8 inches. And finally, we'll have 96, which is going to be 8 feet. Notice it keeps following a 4-foot pattern. And we're going to stop there because we'd be beyond the wall at that point anyway. All right. Now let's review a little bit about what we mean by drawing at 3/4 scale. So in order to do this, you're going to have to find your scale and find the 3/4 on it. And let's do a little review about what that means. So here's the 3/4 scale. I think I'll set it on another pencil here just to keep it from moving around. Go. So you can see what this means. Remember that this represents inches in a foot. If you count these up, there are 24 little marks, which means that each mark is 1/2 of an inch. And you'll notice that the longer ones will represent an inch. So I'm going to be focusing mostly on those longer ones when I count. And then remember the numbers that go up from 0 are going to be the whole feet. So we're going to ignore these little numbers though, because those are coming from the scale on the other side. All right, so let's go ahead and lay out where our studs are going to go. Zoom back out. Now first, to start this, we're going to have to determine where that other wall is going to be. Now remember, a stud is 3.5 inches wide. So on our scale, 3.5 inches is going to be a total of 7 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we're going to need to make a little mark starting at 0 on the end of that wall at 7 of those little marks in. And do the same thing up on the top. Okay, I've just made a little dot to mark where those go. Now again, try and use a straight edge to draw your lines rather than your scale, because the scale sometimes gets jaggedy on the edges. We're going to draw a little, let's just make it a dashed line, because this is where a wall will be. It's not where it is. But when building, we have to consider this. It's really important. And then we will connect these together at the top and the bottom to indicate where our pattern is going to start and stop. Okay, if you're getting behind, remember you can pause this video at any point to get caught up. All right, so this is where our pattern is going to start, not here, okay, because we have to account for that space. All right, so let's lay out, using our scale, where each one of these studs is going to be. And remember, we're starting at this spot right here. So the first one is going to be 1 foot plus 4 inches. Remember this thing that we wrote up there? So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. I'm counting the longer ones here, so I don't have to do it more than once. Okay. And I'm going to make a little dot right in the middle of the bottom plate here. Just a little faint dot. Just make it big enough that you can see it. Don't make it too crazy. Now we're going to make another mark at 2 feet 8 inches. So I'm going to slide this guy over. So I'm showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 longer marks is going to be 8 inches, or 16 total marks, and make a mark at 2 feet. Just a little dot, don't make it too heavy. We're going to put the 0 on the end now because it's a nice even number with 4. The next one is 5 feet 4 inches. I'm going to pause this and you're going to do this on your own for the next 3. And if you did this right, you should have evenly spaced ones. Let's check this one, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one over should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 feet 8. So I'm going to put my mark at 8 inches. 12, 11, and 9, 8. And good. I'm at 6 feet 8 inches. All right. So hopefully we have that. Now, I'm going to show you guys, now that I had you do this the hard way, an interesting thing about 3/4 scale that you're going to be able to use in this. So if we have a regular ruler and we say that 3/4 of an inch equals 1 foot, that means that these 3 are 12 inches, right? So think about every 1/4 of an inch represents 4 inches, right? Because if 3/4 of an inch, in fact, there's 12 marks on a regular ruler, which means that if we added another 1/4 of an inch, we're really at this 4 inches, 8 inches, 12 inches, plus 4 inches is 16 inches. So it just so happens, this is not true for other scales, that an inch equals 16 inches. So you can kind of speed things up a little bit on the top part. Instead of using the scale, let's put the 0 on that end of the mark, and let's just make a little mark at every inch, which means that on the regular ruler, that's every 16 inches. All right, so that sped things up a little bit. Last thing you are going to do is you're going to go through, now it would be really hard to find 1.5 inches and make those little marks using these tiny little marks. There's just, it's too tedious to do that. So what I'd like you to do instead is just put your ruler or your straight edge just a little bit outside those little dots. Draw the edge of the stud, then go a little bit over I'm even not making it perfectly in the middle. And you're going to try and imitate the same thickness here on your board. Now make these lines heavy enough that you can see them, but you're going to want to erase some of them later. So don't make them too dark. I did a pretty good job of imitating what this looks like. I don't want it to be super wide and I don't want it to be super skinny. Try and make it look the same thickness as the boards that are already there. I'm going to do one more here, making sure that I'm vertical. I'm not putting a whole heck of a lot of pressure on the pencil because remember, we might have to erase some of these later. All right, so there's my second one. And we're going to continue on until we have all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 studs in between the two existing already done. And when you're done, you should have something that looks like this with your little dots close to in the middle. And even I'm getting a little skinnier here than I am over here, so it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, but get it as close as you can. And congratulations, you have finished your first wall design. If this was just a wall that didn't have a window or a door in it, we'd leave it this way, but we've got more to do in a new video. So, thank you for your participation. Have a great day.